This has been a big year for certification. A lot of developments, which I'm going to talk about next year as well. It's been central to our mission for many, many years now. So, and I'm just going to kind of touch on some of the major things that we have going on in the program. So you've all seen the MEF 3.0 framework, and our goal here is really to be able to offer certifications ultimately around all of the work that we're doing that is certifiable, including, of course, or above and beyond that, of course, certifying people to help bring the skills to the industry required to build and deploy these services. One of the things, I think, I wasn't in the workshop this morning, but I think there was a discussion about the positioning of MEF services in the context of underlay and overlay. And you will see MEF doing this increasingly over the coming weeks, months, and so on. So really, if you think about what MEF has done, right, we've standardized a suite of underlay services, Carrier Ethernet Layer 2, IP now, optical, you heard about that today. We've now standardized overlay services, and we have an orchestration wrapper around all of that, right, to be able to orchestrate those services, and we'll want to be able to certify, the orchestration component as well as the services. And then, as I mentioned, above and beyond that, the people that are associated with topics. So if you look at our ProCert program, you're going to hear more from my colleagues. It's really aligning to these topics as well. So increasingly, we want to make sure that MEF's professional certification really is ultimately tied to the the technical work that we're doing here. And the program's had some great success over the years. Again, it's been really, we think it's been central to helping grow the industry, to help operators acquire equipment that's capable of delivering standardized services, helps them build services to ultimately help build standardized services as a validation of the standardization of the services. Over the years, we've certified over 120 service providers. Now it's MEF 3.0, was Carrier Ethernet 2.0 not long ago, 80 vendors or technology providers, and we're getting close to 7,000 professionals. So, and we think there's just a lot of upside and trajectory with MEF 3.0 certification. We're seeing a lot of interest coming our way over the last 6 to 12 months in particular. There was a recent survey by Heavy Reading. I think it was 125-ish companies that replied. And these numbers are quite amazing in terms of the importance of certification related to SD-WAN. And we have over 73% felt that technology vendor certification was either critical or important. That's a pretty big number. And if you look at bring in somewhat important, you're well into the 90%. Exactly the same numbers, plus or minus a couple of points, for the the importance of service providers delivering service standardized and certified services, 76% in that critical or important state. And on the professional side, getting the skills required to be in the game and to be effective in the game, again, we're 73%, it's either critical or important. And so we're pretty excited about, the need in the market and the work that we're doing to fulfill that need. We work with partners to deliver certifications, and we have something that's just coming out now called a MEF-SCECP, yes, another acronym, but they are our accredited certification test partners. For a long time, of course, we had Iometrics, and they're going to be speaking, and in a press release going out tomorrow morning, as we announce our SD-WAN services and technology certification, we'll also be announcing Spirent as a partner for that. I know most of you know that we're doing that, we've been talking about it. But also, on the professional certification front, our business model is we build exams and we administer exams, and we accredit training providers to go out and deliver training with a credit curriculum. And we have 8 training provider partners, 3 of which are being, I guess, showcased. You'll see them in the networking hall as the first 3 to actually have SD-WAN training curriculum. And we'll be supporting our SD-WAN certification. Perhaps the others will follow shortly. So those are the partners we're using for our programs. Just in terms of a progress report since MEF 18, that's something also we're doing at a press event starting in an hour. We're letting the press know, what has the organization accomplished? What has the industry accomplished in the last year? Specific to the certification programs, We're seeing a lot of interest and growth now in MEF 3.0 services for carrier Ethernet, I should say, for service providers and vendors. Typically, when you launch a program like that, we launched 3.0 2 years ago. You know, the first year or so is really all about education, people getting their head around what's the difference between CE 2.0, MEF 3.0 for carrier Ethernet, what timing, you know, when do I need to certify, do I need to certify? So a lot of that happened as part of our educational progress, and we're seeing now an increased rate in 3.0 certifications. And for carrier Ethernet, I expect we'll see, you know, really, really good, you know, it's triple-digit growth and beyond for the next year. Over the last year, and in particular the last about 8 months, 7 months, we accelerated bringing the SD-WAN service and technology program to market. We had to build the entire program, get a pilot off the ground. The pilot has started. You're going to hear an update from Mark Cohen on that with Spirent. So we have a number of vendors and service providers going into the testing phase now with announcements to be made in Q1. We also, you know, tracking the evolution of LSO Sonata, the developments. We got to the point where we were ready to launch a certification. So we have a pilot, and the folks from Biometrics are going to talk about that, a combination of certifying LSO Sonata for ordering as well as the underlying wholesale access services. So it was a big year with respect to, you know, new program development and the success of MEF 3.0 for carrier Ethernet. And on the professional side, we were very much focused on the new what we call MEF-SDCP, MEF-SD-WAN certified professionals. It's a lot of energy to actually build these tests to bring a quality test to market. We had a couple hundred people just finish a beta exam recently. Rami, our marketing co-chair from InfoVista, is going to talk about that. Those are kind of the big items, and we will be increasingly promoting our network expert status, which you can gain when you have 2 or more certifications. If we take a look at the year ahead, you know, in some ways more of the same. We certainly want to promote MEF 3.0 certification for carrier Ethernet. CE 2.0 was a big success in the industry, but for service providers, for vendors, it brought a lot of benefits to the table, too numerous to mention here, and so that'll be a focal point. We have to go to general availability of the SD-WAN certification for providers and vendors. That's going to happen at the tail end of the first quarter of next year. And we're also looking at whether there's a substantial enough market to bring an optical services certification. The underlying, you know, first set of standards have been released by MEF, and we're trying to we have to do a bit of a market assessment to see what the appetite is for service providers to offer both, you know, retail or enterprise or wholesale certified MEF optical services. And you know, on the professional side, it's going to be more. It's not going to be so much a year about bringing new tests to market. We will really focus on making SDCP successful. We'd like to have, you know, 1 or 2 people or more from as many organizations as possible in the world take the exam, kick the tires, take the training, and hopefully then they go back and initiate a cycle internally where they, you know, get the budget and the funding and so on to bring it in a bigger way. We will, a little bit later in the year, start to look at what point does an orchestration or an LSO certification make sense for individuals. So that's kind of what our roadmap looks like for the year. I have 2 more slides, and it's just one of the, it's around the registries, as you see here. The certification registry, there's one for vendors and there's one for service providers. These are web pages that are one of the most highly accessed pages on our site because people want to see who's certified. And right now, we present MEF 3.0 certified as top-level information. If you drill into that, you end up getting additional information. And you'll see us moving to something that looks more like this. The slide's maybe not that big, but at the highest level, you'll be able to see whether an operator or a vendor, the vendor's a separate registry, whether they're carrier Ethernet certified or SD-WAN certified. And eventually, if we have optical, you'll see that. So right away, if you want to be a market leader and you want to get SD-WAN certified, we want to make sure you get the visibility that you have that extra certification. So that's the way we're changing the registries. You'll see this coming up over in the coming weeks.